remote hill station of Ravenswood boasted a school that stood as a weathered sentinel against the winds that howled through the mist-laden pines. It was a place where generations of students had carved their memories into the time-worn walls. Little did I know that one rainy weekend would etch a tale of terror into the annals of that ancient institution. It began innocently enough. I was a student at Ravenswood High, a boarding school nestled on the slopes of a hill, surrounded by dense forests that seemed to stretch endlessly into the horizon. The school's aging brick walls exuded a sense of history, and the creaking wooden floors whispered tales of a bygone era. Little did I suspect that I would become a protagonist in the eerie narrative that lurked within its confines. It was a Friday evening when the storm rolled in, a tempest that lashed the hill station with unrelenting fury. The rain fell in sheets, transforming the world outside into a gray and formless abyss. The wind moaned through the corridors, rattling windows and sending shivers down my spine. I had opted to stay back for the weekend, hoping to catch up on studies and find solace in the quietude of the empty classrooms. As the clock ticked away, the last echoes of laughter faded, and the building assumed a solemn stillness. Little did I realize that my decision to remain would plunge me into a nightmarish solitude. As darkness descended, I found myself alone in a classroom on the third floor. The rhythmic tapping of rain against the window panes echoed through the room, creating an eerie symphony that seemed to grow more menacing with each passing moment. I buried myself in my books, attempting to drown out the ominous ambience that enveloped the school. It was when the clock struck midnight that the power flickered and died, plunging the classroom into absolute darkness. Panic set in, and I fumbled for my cell phone, only to realize with a sinking feeling that I had left it in my dormitory. The realization that I was stranded in the inky blackness without any means of communication sent a chill down my spine. The rain outside intensified, its staccato rhythm now a relentless drumming that seemed to echo the palpitations of my anxious heart. I stumbled through the darkened classroom, my hands grazing over desks and chairs as I sought the exit. The corridor outside was a maze of shadows, and the distant sound of rain against the roof became an eerie whisper that seemed to beckon me into the unknown. As I navigated the labyrinthine halls, I noticed an unsettling stillness. The usual creaks and groans of an aging building were replaced by an oppressive silence that hung in the air like a heavy shroud. The classrooms, now devoid of life, appeared to watch me with empty eyes, their chalkboards bearing the remnants of lessons long forgotten. I reached the main entrance, hoping to escape the suffocating darkness that had descended upon Ravenswood High. To my dismay, the doors were locked, resisting my feeble attempts to break free. Panic gnawed at the edges of my resolve as I realized that I was trapped within the school's labyrinthine embrace. For reasons unknown, a foreboding presence seemed to permeate the air. Shadows danced on the walls, their movements defying the logic of the dim emergency lights that flickered in sporadic intervals. An unsettling feeling settled in the pit of my stomach, and a voice within me whispered that I was not alone. Determined to find an exit, I explored the school's winding corridors, each step accompanied by the distant echoes of my own footsteps. The rain outside had become a torrential downpour, and the sound reverberated through the building like a haunting drumbeat. The windows rattled, and the wind howled in protest against the intrusion of an uninvited guest. As I reached the upper floors, I stumbled upon a forgotten classroom that bore the marks of neglect. Desks were overturned, and tattered textbooks lay scattered across the floor. The air within seemed to vibrate with a peculiar energy, and an inexplicable sense of dread settled over me. In the dim light, I noticed an open doorway at the back of the classroom. It led to a narrow staircase that descended into darkness. A cold draft emanated from below, carrying with it a strange odor that hinted at the unseen horrors that lurked in the depths. Driven by an inexplicable compulsion, I descended the staircase into the bowels of the school. The air grew colder with each step, and The echoes of my footsteps were swallowed by the oppressive silence. As I reached the bottom, I found myself in a labyrinth of forgotten passages, each one more ominous than the last. The corridors twisted and turned, leading me deeper into the heart of the school's hidden recesses. Strange symbols adorned the walls, and the air seemed charged with an otherworldly energy. The emergency lights flickered, casting distorted shadows that danced along the stone walls. In the disorienting maze, I stumbled upon a chamber that seemed to defy the laws of physics. The walls pulsed with an unnatural glow, and the temperature dropped to a bone-chilling cold. The room appeared to be a nexus of spectral energy, a focal point for forces that defied comprehension. As I stood in the strange chamber, a distant sound reached my ears, a haunting melody that seemed to resonate from the very stones of the school. It was a lament, a song of sorrow that echoed through the ages. The melody wrapped around me, its ethereal notes guiding me through the subterranean labyrinth. The passage led me to a chamber bathed in an otherworldly light. In the center stood a figure, its silhouette obscured by the glow that surrounded it. As I approached, the figure turned, revealing hollow eyes that seemed to peer into the depths of my soul. With a voice that resonated with the echoes of the ages, the figure spoke of the school's dark past. Ravenswood High had been built atop ancient grounds, its foundations entwined with a history of forbidden rituals and spectral rites. The figure, a guardian of the arcane, revealed that the storm outside had awakened dormant forces that sought release. As the figure spoke, the walls of the chamber seemed to close in. The air pulsed with an otherworldly energy, and the very ground beneath me trembled. Shadows writhed along the walls, and the chamber became a theater for the supernatural, a stage where the veil between the living and the dead blurred. The figure beckoned me to embrace the ancient energies that lingered within the school's walls. It spoke of a pact, an unspoken covenant that bound the living to the spectral forces that resided in Ravenswood. The storm outside, a manifestation of supernatural wrath, sought a conduit through which it could exert its influence. In that moment, I felt a choice before me: to succumb to the spectral energies or to resist the supernatural pull. Fear clung to my every thought, but a spark of determination flickered within. With a defiant resolve, I rejected the pact that the figure offered, choosing to defy the arcane forces that sought dominion over the living. As I turned away, the figure's voice rose to a haunting crescendo. The chamber convulsed, and the very stones of the school seemed to protest against my defiance. The labyrinth shook, and the hidden passages rearranged themselves, creating an intricate puzzle that defied logic. Driven by an instinct to escape, I navigated the shifting corridors, each turn a gamble in the other-worldly maze. The spectral melody reverberated through the walls, urging me to abandon hope and embrace the darkness. Shadows danced along the passages, their twisted forms reaching out to ensnare me in their spectral grip. As I neared the surface, the storm outside intensified, its fury mirrored by the supernatural tempest that raged within the school. The emergency lights flickered, casting distorted shadows that seemed to writhe with malevolence. The rain pounded against the windows, and the wind howled in protest, as if the very elements rebelled against the intrusion of the arcane. I emerged from the subterranean depths, gasping for breath as I reached the main corridor. The emergency lights cast long, distorted shadows that seemed to claw at the edges of my sanity. The rain outside beat against the windows with a relentless fury, its rhythm a macabre symphony that echoed the tumult within. With each step, I felt the school's ancient stones release their hold on me. The supernatural energies that had sought to entwine with my very being receded, and the oppressive silence gave way to the distant sounds of the storm. The main entrance, once a barrier that denied escape, now stood ajar, its doors opening to the tempest outside. As I stepped into the rain-drenched night, the school loomed behind me, a silent witness to the spectral drama that had unfolded within its ancient halls. The storm, now a fading tempest, whispered the secrets of Ravenswood High, a place where the living and the dead existed in a delicate dance. The rain-soaked hill station, shrouded in mist, bore witness to my escape from the supernatural grip that had threatened to consume me. The echoes of the haunting melody lingered in the air, a reminder of the otherworldly forces that resided within the remote school. In the aftermath, Ravenswood High returned to a semblance of normalcy. The storm passed, leaving behind traces of its spectral rage. The rain-soaked classrooms bore the scars of a supernatural tempest, and the memories of that fateful night lingered in the time-worn walls. As I looked back one last time at the remote hill station, I knew that Ravenswood High held secrets that transcended the realm of the living. The school's ancient stones whispered tales of arcane rites and spectral pacts, and the storm, a manifestation of supernatural forces, had offered a glimpse into a world that defied comprehension. As the rain continued to fall, washing away the remnants of the tempest, I walked away from Ravenswood High, haunted by the knowledge that the supernatural had left an indelible mark on the time-worn institution. The hill station, now shrouded in mist, held its secrets close, guarding the tales of that eerie night within the silent embrace of its remote and ancient hills.